Floaty Goaty Lore, Volume 2, Chapter 9, Ohio Comes Back. The gang rushed towards the shadow because eventually most of them knew what it was. It was none other than Ohio Final Boss. He was back after all these years. He circled Goofy Eye Tower ominously, waiting for the gang to come back over. Goofy Eye Army had regenerated completely, and Ohio Final Boss had brought back the Rams. It was almost exactly like it had been all those years ago. And Floaty Goaty's brother was back. As soon as Floaty Goaty came close, his brother saw him. He flew over with his jetpack troops, and Pilgor was immediately frightened after what happened last time they crossed paths. The Ram King flew down and confronted Floaty Goaty. "I see you have brought Pilgor back," he said. "She was never dead. Your power is but a fraction of mine," said Floaty Goaty. "Oh, really? Is that true?" said the Ram King, clearly trying to make Floaty Goaty intimidated. "Why, yes, brother, of course it is," Floaty Goaty said as he and the gang pulled out their strongest weapons. The Ram King, clearly more intimidated, challenged them to a battle to the death against his army. So the gang headed quickly to the Rhea Kingdom and recruited Karen again. At this point, she might as well become part of the gang. So they gathered all the armies and headed back to the battlefield. But halfway there, they saw the Ram King making an alliance with Ohio Final Boss. Floaty Goaty didn't know if they could take on that big of a crew, but they had taken them down before, so this would surely be a lot easier. Just then, lightning struck an Ohio Final Boss's hand, spawning an electric sword. Floaty Goaty knew that thing would kill any of the gang in one swipe. Floaty Goaty then realized that he put Ohio Final Boss's black cape on his weapon, but it was back and blue for some reason. Floaty Goaty rushed to Goatshire, but it was still on the weapon, so he must have gotten it back somehow. Floaty Goaty rushed back to the battlefield where the Prairie Dog Army and their king had joined the gang. A massive thunderstorm struck, and Ohio Final Boss started attacking. He and the Rams rushed towards the gang, and the gang headed towards them. They all stood for about 5 minutes until Floaty Goaty screamed, "Attack!" Ohio Final Boss and the Rams charged at the gang, and the biggest battle yet was about to commence. Floaty Goaty used the goats to charge a power stone beam and shoot it at the Rams. Half the army was gone in the blink of an eye. This would be an easy battle if not for Ohio Final Boss. Hashi shot the beak of Kevin at the Rams and wiped out the other half. The Ram King was shocked, but he kept going. He tried to attack Floaty Goaty, but Floaty Goaty had other plans. He shot the Power Stone right below him, where Phoenix jumped up and shot a fireball at him, and then Hashi shot him in the foot he shot him with the foot of Fwog from the sky, and he plummeted right into the ground, straight into Goofy Eye Planet's core. Now that interruption is dealt with, it's time to start on Ohio Final Boss. He used his newfound lightning powers to strike the gang, but Floaty Goaty had other plans. He made a force field around the gang that protected them from any further damage. Ohio Final Boss tried to break it open, and it busted open like a coconut on a hydraulic press, so that wasn't going to work. Floaty Goaty used the Power Stone again against Ohio Final Boss, but he sent his lightning beam straight towards it. Floaty Goaty then seemingly disappeared. Hashi, clearly confused, told the army that they would worry about him later and fight Ohio Final Boss now. Hashi bolted towards Ohio Final Boss and appeared behind him in a heartbeat. That's when Hashi found his weak spot. He shot Ohio Final Boss right in the back with the beak of Kevin. He was knocked down and sent to the multiverse again. When he arrived there, he found Floaty Goaty, Power Stone equipped and ready to fight. The battle traversed across multiple universes, taking place in the background of the My Singing Monsters world and multiple other universes. While they were traveling universes, they stumbled upon the old Fuzzy Ferret lore universe. This universe was a cheap copy of Floaty Goaty's, so he killed Kai the Ferret in an alternate corrupted timeline where he then said, "Nobody steals my content and gets away with it." They were both sent back to their own universe, and the battle continued. When Ohio Final Boss was set back, Floaty Goaty flew to a faraway universe and grabbed a huge weapon, sliced the air a few times, and knew that it was going to do the trick. He then was teleported back to his universe with it and got ready for the battle. He sliced Ohio Final Boss with his newfound weapon, and it knocked him back pretty far. Then Ohio Final Boss knocked Floaty Goaty back as well. He used his super speed to charge at him and attack with its insane power. Ohio Final Boss was sent to the multiverse again. Floaty Goaty told the gang to stay there, and he took Hashi with him. They shot up to the multiverse along with him and started to fight there. They both attacked at the same time and knocked him back for a bit. That's when Hashi told Floaty Goaty he knew about Ohio Final Boss's weak spot. When he got back up, they both attacked him there. That shot him far up into the sky, where Floaty Goaty shot a Power Stone beam at him from below. It shot him up so far that he reached nothing. He was outside the multiverse, and there he floated in just blank space. He was the only thing outside the multiverse. Floaty Goaty flew up into nothing and hit Ohio Final Boss straight down, plummeting him back into their universe, followed by Floaty Goaty and Hashi. When they met back up with the gang, Ohio Final Boss teleported each of the main gang members to a room where he fought just the armies. Each gang member was teleported to a different challenge room where they had to get through to come back to the battlefield. First up was Alex. He was in a parkour chamber with lava at the bottom. He had to make multiple tough jumps to get to the end. He made the first, but the second was really, really far away, so he had to just go for it. Surprisingly, he made it all the way across. That's when he unlocked a new power, Jump Boost. He made the rest of the jumps with ease, and then he made it to the end. A pressure plate appeared in front of him. He stepped on it, and it said 1 out of 11. There would be 12, but Karen was lost somewhere in teleportation. She was teleported far away, so the gang would have to find her some other day. Next to complete their challenge was Mark. He had to fight off multiple strong warriors. He fought off the first few before finding his power, which was super strength. He attacked the next one, and it sent out a few shockwaves, killing every single one in a 1-mile radius. He used the same technique on the next few groups, and then a pressure plate appeared in the middle of the room. He stepped on it, and there appeared some text that said 2 out of 11. Next to complete their room was Midnight. She had to get through multiple wood blocks to make it to the end. She had no idea how she was going to do it until she discovered her new ability, which was karate. She chopped at a wood block, and it broke in half instantly. She stepped through the door she had made and chopped the next blocks in half with ease. She got to the end of her pressure plate and stepped on it. It said 3 out of 11. Next up was Jeeton, who had to enter an area filled to the brim with water and swim a mile to the exit. He was flabbergasted because there was no way he could ever make it to the end. He stuck his hoof in the water and it shined a green glow. That's when he discovered his new water-breathing abilities. He swam forwards with the green glow all around his body. He swam all the way to the end where he found his pressure plate. He stepped on it and it showed 4 out of 11. Next up was Pilgor. She was met with a castle that looked nearly identical to the Goat Tower in Goatville, but above the throne appeared to be a health monitor of some sort. It was showing the heart rate of the long-and-forgotten Goat Queen. It was slowing down. Then it flatlined. The Goat Queen, wherever she may have been, was now dead. Pilgor rushed to the throne and sat on it, revealing that she had become the new Goat Queen. Apparently, Pilgor was Floaty Goaty's niece, daughter of his youngest brother, Jimmu Bestat. And because neither Floaty Goaty or the Ram King had any children, Pilgor was next in line in the royal family, with Floaty Goaty as the Goat God. When she sat on the throne, above her appeared 5 out of 11. Next up was Rim, who was actually paired up in a room with Tyson. They had 60 seconds to translate an entire Japanese book to English before a trapdoor in the floor opens up and sends them plummeting to their deaths in the molten lava below. They translated the first few chapters in half a second. Their new power was that they could instantly translate full pages of Japanese. They worked on translating the rest, and their pressure plate appeared. They both stepped on it, and it said 7 out of 11. Next to complete their room was Phoenix. He had to get through a circle of fire with a radius stretching 10 miles in all directions. He thought there was no possible way that he could make it through until he walked through it and discovered his fire resistance powers. He walked straight through without getting hurt one bit. He reached the end and stepped on his pressure plate, reading 8 out of 11. Next to complete their room was another pair, being Hashi and Uncle Ben. They had to refight Fwog. He has come back, and Hashi and Uncle Ben need to fight him again, but it would be a lot easier with their new weapons. Hashi attacked Fwog with his own foot and then the beak of Kevin. He was knocked down quite easily, just a few more attacks and he was gone. But Hashi wondered, if Fwog and Ohio Final Boss were back, what other monsters could come back to life? Only time will tell. A pressure plate appeared in front of him, and they stepped on it together, reading 10 out of 11. Only one room remained, which was Floaty Goaty's. He had to collect 11 great artifacts and 1 holder stone. He had to dig through so many layers of dirt just to get to 1 artifact. It was going to be tough finding all of them, but he had found his new power as well, X-ray vision. He tapped the side of his head and 12 outlines appeared. He dug out all the items and the dirt started draining from the room. Once it was all gone, Floaty Goaty assembled the ancient stone with the 11 artifacts, and it glowed bright on each one. Floaty Goaty decided he would keep it to find out more later. But then a pressure plate appeared, and when Floaty Goaty stepped on it, it read 11 out of 11. Everyone was teleported back to the battlefield, where Ohio Final Boss fell asleep out of boredom. Then everyone attacked him with their new powers. He woke up but was badly wounded. Floaty Goaty threw the artifact up in the air, but it didn't fall back down. It stayed in the air, and every artifact flew off and flew into Ohio Final Boss like homing missiles. with the holder stone following them. After impact, they all flew inside Ohio Final Boss, and it exploded. It was finally over. He was dead, again. With this ultimate weapon, the gang was unstoppable. Floaty Goaty knew that this weapon was important, so he hid it in the strongest vault on all of Goofy Planet. He headed back to the battlefield, grabbed Ohio Final Boss's second cape, and added it to his weapon. The gang then wondered who would come back next. Only time would tell.